Alright, hey guys, Blanket Ninja here with another random video. This is a game I had on one of my smurf accounts where it was a pretty much prime example of why split pushing is just so effective, especially at lower elos where teams are really just too disorganized to really deal with it, and why you should consider split pushing a lot more. Not just at low elo, especially at higher and higher elos, split pushing actually becomes even more effective because your team knows how to play around split pushing. So they know how to stay as far, they know how to stay grouped and stay alive as you're split pushing. At lower elos, it is more difficult to split push and have your team stay alive. But at lower elos, it's easier to break up the enemy team because they won't be as organized. So I'm going to show you how split pushing can basically win you a game that you basically had no right of winning. Our team comp is just terrible. I'm playing Nidalee support. We have Malzahar, we have Quinn, we have Yorick, we have Nunu. Like, our team fight is just straight up terrible. Like, we have like no CC, we have like one form of CC. We have no hard CC. We're all super short ranged, and just in general, our team fight is super mediocre. Every single team fight, we're just gonna get Sona ulted, Annie ulted, Draven ulted, and then everyone's just gonna jump in, and we have zero way to stop that. We don't really have a front line to actually stop that with. So I knew from the start our team fight was it was terrible. We were gonna lose every single team fight, assuming we didn't get like super fed or anything. And what actually ends up happening is that blue team gets super fed, their Annie gets super fed, the Draven gets really fed, and the Shen just farms all game. So we're behind in items, we're behind in levels, we're behind in farm, and team fights we already had no chance of winning. Now we had zero chance of winning because we tried the 5v5 fight, and they would just instantly pretty much ace us if we tried to fight. So I decided to just turn to just split pushing instead. And I'm going to show you how strong it is against, especially lower elo teams. So I'm going to turn the sound down just a bit here. So we start bottom lane off pretty well. We managed to get a kill. And then we trade 1-1 here. And in general, bot lane is it's going perfectly fine. Until we get roamed on by this Annie here. and then we get destroyed bottom. So bottom lane, Draven Quinn Quinn Nidalee is actually not that bad of a lane. Like, it seems like really mediocre. It's honestly not that bad. So we get roamed on by Annie here, and we just both die. So we die here, we die there. So we were doing well up until this point. Malzahar does pick up a kill on Elise, but Annie just goes straight bottom again. So I went to go clear this ward, and Annie respawned, came all the way through river, and just instantly killed me again. So this is really unfortunate. I thought she would be back middle, but she just went straight bottom again. So I die. And then my Quinn dies, and then now we're really behind bottom. So Annie's now unstoppable. She's 5-0 against our 1-2 Malzahar. She has more CS than he does. In general, she's just way ahead of him. Yeah, we try to fight him here, he gets Shen ulted, then we both die. So, again, we were doing fine bottom until Annie roamed on us twice, and then the last time we tried to initiate a fight, the Shen ulted from top. So now we're really behind. We're down double the kills, pretty much. Then everyone comes bottom. Nothing really happens here. And at this point, obviously, my team is completely all raging at each other. Everyone's like yelling at Malzahar for being worse than Annie. We're complaining about how everyone keeps roaming bottom. Everyone's in just like a terrible mood at the moment, so there's really no sense of teamwork at all that's going on right at the moment. So we're all just trying to farm, trying to do our thing. Quinn just like randomly dies here. I managed to pick off Annie. Okay, and it was at this point I knew we pretty much had no chance in team fights. Our Malzahar is 1, 2, and 2, which is fine. It's fine. He only has 100 CS. He does have a def cap, but the thing is, I know although Malzahar has a def cap and he can do a decent amount of damage, against that team he's never going to get his ultimate off. And if he doesn't get his ultimate off, he's completely useless. And Annie is just going to kill all of us the second she uses her stun. Draven also 4, 1, and 2. Our Quinn is 3, 6, and 1 with a bit more CS than Draven. So our Quinn's actually not too far behind that Draven. He might actually even be ahead a bit. But Draven's pretty farmed as well. And we can see Shen in the top lane is also pretty farmed as well. And as long as they get farmed, I know we're going to stand 0 chance in team fights. And obviously our team's like raging on each other at this point, so it's not like we can even group for a team fight because we don't even have that level of coordination right now. So what I decided to do is I just decided to start split pushing. Generally as a support it's like a retarded idea to split push, but Nidalee split push as well, and if I get a couple items then it's pretty much going to be like if I was playing Nidalee top or mid, I can split push just fine. So I start to split push. My team is like dying middle. I don't know what they're doing. Annie like randomly kills Quinn somewhere like up here. They're pushing middle. We're losing towers. And my goal right now is just to push this tower down as hard as possible and force everyone to come bottom. Ideally, what they could have just done is they all 5 could have grouped middle and just pushed it down and just gotten their inhib like right here. But in solo queue, if you start pushing towers, people will start going back to defend, even if the better idea would just be group as 5 and then just push middle, because people just like are not smart. So I'm just pushing down here, and you see all these people coming down for me. There's 1, 2, 3 people, and like maybe Draven. So 3 people are coming down to stop the split push when all 5 of them could have just grouped middle and gotten inhib like right here. So this is my goal. Like even if they catch me, it doesn't matter because I almost downed this turret. I almost destroyed this turret, and even if they kill me, I would have drawn pressure off of mid lane and they wouldn't have gotten inhib. So basically I traded myself to keep our 2 towers and our inhib alive, which is obviously worth the trade. So I just like die here. And that's perfectly fine. But we still stand 0 chance of winning, so I decide right here that I'm just going to dedicate myself to pretty much just split pushing the entire game. So I push up middle a bit so they don't end up just grouping middle and just pushing, and then I start trying to split again. I notice there's a ton of people bottom, so obviously I'm not going to try to split push. My goal basically is to prevent them from grouping up and pushing a lane. I want to try to pressure bottom or top or mid as much as possible. Keep trying to split push so that they come and stop me instead of trying to push our base. This is basically the goal of split pushing. So that guy just like randomly dies. He like randomly dies. Everyone just like randomly dies. And now I'm the only one alive trying to defend against this. Really not too much I can do about this. I try to poke a bit. Nidalee is not good at stopping sieges, so I have to wait for Malzahar to come up here. So I almost get caught up by Annie and I just flash over before she can kill me. Okay, so I see my team is trying to be really dumb and trying to like force an engage here, and I know we stand zero chance of winning this. Like if I was here, I know we would still lose, and then they would just push their shit in. So I knew this was a retarded idea to even try to help them. So I just go split push. The second I see that they're doing something stupid, I just go split push. So my team's like dying. I'm just split pushing right here. I force Elise to come bottom here, and I just die, and that's perfectly fine. Because either way, we were 100% going to lose this. If I was here, we would have just gotten aced, and they would have just pushed their base in and just won the game, like right here. As it is, Elise went bottom, Shen went mid. These guys die, and I believe we lose maybe like an inhib, and that's not so bad. So since I went bottom, I drew Elise bottom, well, Shen was just pushing up middle, and only 3 people went up here. If all 5 of them just went middle, they easily could have got this tower, they easily got inhib, and they easily could have got one or both of our Nexus turrets as well. So it's just all about mitigating the amount of damage you're gonna take, because the second we decided to engage right here, when we had 0 chance of winning, like we already lost. There was no possible way we were going to come out ahead in that situation. So my goal is just to mitigate the damage. So we lost an inhib, but that's better considering we could have lost a lot more than just an inhib from that push. And again, our team's raging at each other the whole time. There's really no sense of communication. No one wants to do anything. There's like a fight in the middle. York is pushing top. Something's going on mid. I just ignore it all, and I'm just going to keep pushing bottom. So I get this tower. And then I back off. So the only thing that matters is that you get towers. Right now, the gold lead actually isn't that bad, but we still stand 0 chance in teamfights. But the only thing that actually matters in this game is that you get objectives, and if you manage to get all the towers and all the inhibs, it doesn't really matter how far behind you actually are, because if you manage to get inhibs and towers down, you're still gonna win, because super minions are just ridiculously like overpowered. If you manage to get all the inhibs down and you get double creeps going, really strong. So right here, they're all going for Baron, because Yorick just like died somewhere. I don't know. He just like randomly died to Elise. I see they're all doing Baron, and I know after Baron what they're gonna do is they're just gonna group and they're just gonna push, probably top, because mid's already down. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm just gonna split push all the way to this turret here, and I'm gonna try to force them to go back before they group up and push. Because if they just instantly group up, go top, and just push, they're gonna win the game here, because we cannot stop this. Our wave clear is like terrible. We have 0 wave clear. So if they do Baron and then they go top, we're just gonna lose. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm just gonna split push bottom and force them to come bottom and hopefully try to delay it as much as possible. So they finish Baron, my team gets like caught, and this team is like split between trying to stop me and then whatever they're doing here. I'm not really sure what they're doing here. Yeah, so we actually kill a couple people. So if we watch what happened there. So they kill Baron, and he just like randomly dies to our queen. And then they just split for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why. But this is a prime example of how just bad solo queue players are. They're just completely uncoordinated, and you can just take advantage of that. So these guys just like die here. Shen's like over here for some reason, and Thankfully, my team actually managed to pick up a couple kills. Like in a full 5v5 fight, we have 0 chance of winning, but in a smaller, like 3v3 fight, we do have a better chance of winning. And especially since we won that fight, it gives me a good chance to keep pushing this tower down here. So instead of helping his team, Shen has to come and stop me here. So I die here, but I managed to get the tower, so it doesn't matter. So we actually did pretty well for what actually happened. You know, they got Baron, and if they just stayed grouped and just pushed top, they would have just won. Instead, Annie got picked off here. You know, 3 people went over here. They all got picked off, and then Shen went like over here somewhere for some reason. And yes, this part of split pushing is relying on how dumb the enemy is, but you'll realize quickly in most solo queue games that everyone is just really bad, and the amount of coordination you need to stop a split push is way more coordination than you need to actually split push in the first place. Because, you know, split pushing from your side takes no coordination. You just go in a lane and you just split push regardless of what your team does. To stop a split push takes a lot of coordination. Like, you need to know, which person to send back, and if you even have to send anyone back, if you should just group and go middle. And especially at lower elos, it's difficult for players to make those decisions. So from you just split pushing, you're putting a lot of pressure on the map that they don't know how to deal with, and they're going to make mistakes like this. They got Baron, and they could have just ended the game. Like 100%, they could have just went top and ended the game right here. But instead, Annie got caught, 3 people got picked off over here, and then Shen went bottom to try and stop me because I was split pushing at the same time. So this is how split pushing puts like such a big pressure on enemy team. So our Malzahar just like randomly gets caught here. There's really no way we're gonna win this fight here. So instead of split pushing, I just go back to defend because I know if I don't come back, we're gonna lose. So I just stay until we can fend them off. We managed to pick off Draven. I push off Shen. Okay, and after we kill Draven, after Shen pushes off, I know there's no threat of them pushing. I know they're not going to group and just end the game because Draven's dead, obviously, and Shen just went back, and all the other people are just like across the map. So I know for a fact they're not going to be grouping up and pushing. So right now, my job is just to create pressure on the map and distract them basically from pushing again. The last thing I want them to do is to group up as 5 and push. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep split pushing. I'm going to force them to split up. I'm going to force them to make mistakes. And just the last thing I want them to do is group up. So I'm just going to force them to come for me. Now I'm going to show you what I do here. What I do here is that I know they don't have this warded, because in lower elo games, this is never warded past 30 minutes. It's just never ever warded. So I decide not to actually go for this creep wave right here, because I know if I go for this creep wave, they're just going to come bottom and stop me. I know I can actually just run through their jungle, sit in the jungle, and just wait for them all to run past me. And then once they've run past me, I'm just going to backdoor this inhib. And I know if I just go for this wave right here, they're all just going to come bottom and stop me. But if I just go into their jungle and just camp it and just wait it out for a bit, I know they're not going to stop me because they have no vision of me, they don't know I'm here. So I put some wards down, I put a trap down just in case someone actually does come here. And I just wait it out. Okay, and then once I see a bunch of people middle, I know this is where they're gonna group. If there's 2 or 3 people middle, I know everyone else is gonna come there as well. So what I do is I sit here. Let me turn on vision for just our side. So I just sit here until I see people middle. Did I actually? Yeah, this guy stepped on a trap. And he is middle. Elise is middle, Sona's middle. I know everyone is middle. I know everyone is going to middle. I know everyone will be in this area. So that's basically my opportunity to go in backdoor. And this is why towers down are like getting inhibitor towers down are so important, because you can just skip the creep line and you can just go straight for the inhib. You don't have to actually have a creep wave. You can just backdoor. So I know everyone's middle. So here's my chance to just go for this inhib. So I'm going to pause it. I'm going to turn on all the vision again. And see, everyone is grouped middle. Like, from my Shen trapped here, I knew he was going to head towards middle. And from the limited vision I saw here, I saw everyone else was in middle. So I know everyone is in middle right now, 100%. So what I do is I sit in this bush, wait until they're middle, and then I just go here. Now, if they are grouped 5 middle right now, and they just pushed, they can end the game right here, because we cannot defend against that. So again, my goal is to force them to come back here. So I wait in their jungle, I wait for them to group, and then I go for the inhib straight off. And if you look at my build, I have Lich Bane and Deathcap, which makes backdooring really, really quick. So the second they see me, you see what they're doing here. Draven is coming back, Annie is coming down, and everyone is coming back. Everyone is coming back just because of one person. This is how strong split pushing is. So even though they come back to stop me, I've already got this inhib. It doesn't even matter right now if I die. It does not matter at all. So Annie tries to tibbers me. I think she actually blows her flash for that too. I get out, I run away, and then I get caught with a Draven ult, and there's really no way I can dodge this one. So I end up dying, but it doesn't matter because I stopped a 5-man push by just split pushing, and I got an inhib out of it. All it took was one person, and we came out ahead of that. We got the inhib, and they didn't do anything. They didn't get any towers, they didn't get anything. They didn't pick off anyone. And now they have an inhib down. So my team decides to like engage here. Everyone is here, so I'm pretty sure we actually do lose this. Let's see. So we trade 2 for 2. Well, yeah, we trade 2 for 2. We almost got ace, but we trade 2 for 2. So I respawn here. I'm just clearing the base, and then I know bot inhib is down. We have super minions, so my goal now is to go top, and my goal is to split push this down as much as possible. Now, if I can split push top, and draw people to come to this lane, hopefully this lane pushes so hard that they have to send someone at the bottom to stop this as well. And if we manage to put pressure on both these lanes at once, as well as having my team group up in middle, we can put enough pressure on all the lanes so they don't just group up as 5 and push. Because again, the last thing we want them to do is group up as 5 and push, because we're just going to lose the instant they do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go top, and I'm going to split push again. So my team, again, decides to fight. And we just instantly lose, because there's no way we're going to win a full 5v5 fight, because we just don't have a chance. So let's see. Okay, so I actually managed to get this tower down, and we'll see what happens here. My team pretty much gets aced. 4 people are still here, but Draven decides to go back. So what's going to happen is he's going to go back, and I'm just going to go back to base. Now, there's only 4 people here, so we can manage to deal with this, because there's only 4 people here. If Draven are here, this might be a bigger problem. So I managed to pick off Annie. And again, against much smarter teams, they would have just stayed 5 middle and they would have just all-inned. and hopefully they could have just ended the game before I took all their base. Again, at lower elos, people will panic if you start to split push, especially if you take towers really fast. You know, people panic. Draven just went back, and he tried to stop me from split pushing. And I just went back the second he started going back. So when he came back and he was trying to defend here, I was already back at my base trying to defend this forward push. And I know a lot of people look at split pushing games and they're just like, you know, the enemy team was really stupid. If they just stayed as 5 and they just pushed, they would have just won the game. And this is true for a majority of cases when you're split pushing, but people panic. When you're split pushing, it puts a lot of pressure on people, and people make the wrong decisions sometimes. And often what happens is one person decides to go back, but the rest of the team doesn't know if that's a good call or not, so they just let them go back. So that's what ends up happening. In solo queue games, there's just not that level of communication between people. So if you can split push hard, you can split communication between the team, and that's your goal. I mean, so many points in this game, they could have just ended it if they just played right. But since I split push so hard, I just always split them up, always put pressure on them, and they just made mistakes in their decision making. And that's your entire goal of split pushing, is just to be as annoying as possible. This is also the goal of Proxy Singed, because Proxy Singed is basically the same idea. It's if you're smart enough and you communicate with your team well enough, you can pretty easily defeat Proxy Singed. But if you guys get all disorganized, you guys start trying to chase Singed, you guys are just spread all over the map, then you're just gonna lose, because Singed is just gonna split your team up. You're just gonna waste all your time, and you're just gonna lose all your towers. So we managed to pick off a couple people. So we pick off 3 people. Shen and Sona are still alive. And again, I'm just gonna split push. I'm gonna put pressure on the lanes. Start hitting this tower, get it down as low as possible. And I'm just gonna like die here because I thought Shen was bottom. And he just like ran all the way top here. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, this guy just runs all the way top around me, and I didn't notice, so I just like straight up die. We do manage to get Baron though. Okay. There we go. We do manage to get Baron. And, I mean, at this point, we do have Baron. Our Quinn is actually quite fed. I mean, if Yorick plays it right and ults the Quinn, if Nunu plays it right and Blood boils Quinn and keeps him alive, we could actually maybe win a 5v5 fight here. But honestly, I just don't trust my team. I just do not trust them to be able to play that well, because I just know all blue team has to do is just use all their ults as, or like any ult and Sona ult all at once. And if we get caught out, we're just gonna die. While we have to play a much more like precise team fight. If we mess up slightly, we're just slightly out of position. We're just gonna instantly lose. So I honestly don't trust my team enough to actually 5v5 fight with them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna backdoor again. So we'll see what happens here. So again, I could have just pushed this wave in and then just gone for the inhib turret. But what I want them to do first is I want them to group middle as much as possible, get them as far away from their base as possible before I start going here. If I just start pushing this lane down right here, then they're just gonna, they would have been like right here, and they would have just came back and stopped me, and I maybe would have got one inhib and not much else. But I want them to waste as much time as possible, so I wait for them to group middle, and then I just run past all the minions and I just go for the inhib right here. Because again, with the tower down, you can just backdoor it without needing creeps at all. So this is exactly what I do here. So we'll see them. No one on our team actually got caught, and now they're panicking. They see me here, they know they have to stop me, and they're panicking. So Elise went back, everyone's running back, Sona's running back, Annie's running back. Everyone is coming back just to stop this one person. So I managed to get it, and I just die, and that's fine. See? And that's fine because it completely split them up, and my team actually has a chance of winning if everyone is just split up. So let's see what happens here. They're all chasing me. Like, Annie's like here, he gets like Malzahar ulted. Two people, like both Elise and Draven are trying to kill just me. Like, this is two of the biggest threats on their team, and they're both just trying to kill the support in Italy. Annie just gets instantly dropped by Malzahar. Shen is like going to die to Quinn, and this just happened because everyone is split. We'll see what happens here actually. So I initiate on Quinn, Quinn gets out, and at this point I'm coming bottom. I'm gonna start split pushing here. And everyone sees this, they're all trying to go back. And what they do is they just initiate. They see everyone trying to go back, and my team just initiates, which is the correct decision. As everyone is trying to go back, all like their main damage threats are trying to just kill me. So the correct decision right here is to initiate, because everyone is split. So they just catch out Annie. She dies. Shen's gonna die because he's getting chased by Quinn here. And then these guys are gonna die because Annie is gone. Shen has no ult. They now have no front line, so my team just runs in and just kills them. So we get a tower out of this. So again, I mean, I died, but we managed to trade 2 for 2, and we got an inhib out of it, and we got a tower out of it. So we came out way ahead than they did. We got 2 objectives over them basically. So we just go back, we defend this here. And again, my goal is just to keep split pushing, because it's working out really well so far, so I'm just going to keep doing it. Because I already know they cannot, they don't seem to have the coordination to deal with it, so I'm just going to keep doing it. So I split push bottom, and I know I cannot keep split pushing, because the second they see me bottom, they're all going to come bottom here, so I just go back. So I push up bottom. I know we have super creeps, so I know they're gonna have to go defend that. So what I do is I'm just gonna try to go top. Okay, so I see everyone's middle again. And again, what I'm gonna try to do is, before, if you remember, I tried to do as much damage to this turret as possible. And since I did so much damage to it, I can actually just backdoor it without needing any minions at all. So everyone's grouped middle here. And again, I could have just went top and pushed the minions in and then got to the turret and then taken it down. But by the time I pushed all the way here, they would have been able to be back in time to defend this. So, but instead I just run all the way through their jungle and just straight for the turret, because I got low enough that I remember like how low it got, and I can actually just solo it here. Our team ideally does not want to engage here, but it looks like, I think they do, or they get engaged on at least. Actually, no. Yeah. So they notice me split pushing, and again, the last thing I want them to do is group as 5. So I see Draven's going back here. They're completely split up now. They're panicking. They don't know what to do. Elise is trying to go in, and everyone else is trying to back off. So my team, right here, this is perfect. So my team just decides to engage. It looks like Elise is actually trying to go for a backdoor, I think. But 4v4, we are stronger. Like, we are the stronger team by far, 4v4. And they have to stop my split push here, so they're all coming back. I'm not sure what Elise is doing. She should have just went for this one, but... So, I get that turret down. I get this tower down. And I just run. I think I still die anyways, but... Yeah, I'm not sure. So, Elise gets her top. She starts going for our inhib, but the thing is, without Elise, blue team has no chance of winning if they don't have Elise. So while they're doing that, while Draven is distracted with this team fight, I'm just gonna keep split pushing. Like, I'm just gonna take this tower. And then I'm just gonna take this tower. Manages to get me. So let's see what happened. They lost 1, 2 inhibs, both inhib turrets. We lost 1, and maybe this one. No, we only lost 1 inhib. That's all we lost in that. We got both inhibs and we got both inhibitor turrets, and we got like a tower. Actually, I think we killed that one earlier. But we got so much more out of that than they did. And at this point, they're pretty much screwed because there's really no way to come back from this when you have someone as good at split pushing as Italy. So they're stuck in their base, they're trying to defend it, and we just pick up Baron for free here. And at this point we can just push in all the lanes, you know, all these lanes are pushing. At this point we're actually pretty decently strong, you know. Quinn is really fed, Nazahar is actually quite fed, Yorick is quite fed as well. I'm poking people down with spears, and Quinn just gets engaged on here. This is really, really bad by Quinn. Yeah, he should not have gotten engaged on here, but I mean, we do what we can. So he gets engaged on, so we're instantly gonna lose whatever fight we're gonna have. So instead of trying to fight this, I just focus on taking down turrets and shit, and I really cannot get any, so I just back off. So I see them all going middle, so I just run back. I just keep split pushing. Again, the last thing I want them to do is group as 5 and just push down middle, because they can win just right here. So what I do is I just keep split pushing and try to force them back to their base. So again, we see 3 people trying to split push, or trying to push down mid and end the game, and 2 people trying to stop me. I mean, everyone on my team is dead except for me, so I just go straight for the Nexus turret, because there's really no other option at this point. If I go back to try and defend, I'm gonna lose. I cannot defend against all of these people. So I just go straight for the Nexus turret. And I just kite backwards until we win. And again, this is how strong split pushing is. If they sent more people to try and stop me, or if they sent better people to try and stop me, if they sent like Elise and like maybe Annie or something, and just left Draven and everyone else to go push and win, then they would have won that. But again, if you're split pushing so hard, people get pressured, they don't make good decisions, they don't send the right people, they send the wrong people. In this case, Annie and Sona really had 0 chance of stopping me. You know, Elise could have run back pretty quick. She could have spider jumped, and I would have just instantly died when she like jumped on me, and it would have stopped the push, and they would have won the game. But in that split second, no, they were panicking. They're like, we have to end this game right now, and we also have to stop this Nidalee. Okay, whoever's closest to Nidalee, just go try and stop her. Everyone else, go push middle. And they just panicked. They sent the wrong champions, and it cost them the game. And this happens a lot more than you think. If you split push, people are under pressure, and they just always completely mess up, make mistakes, or make wrong decisions and shit. So I think that's about it. I think obviously this is a low elo game. And the thing with higher and higher elo is when you split push in higher elos, your team as 4 knows how to play, so they can just stall the game as much as possible, so you can just split push. So split pushing actually becomes much easier at higher elo. At lower elo, you're much more susceptible to split pushing, and then your entire team just dies, and then they just end the game, because your entire team just like died before you could actually get any towers. But often in games like this, if the enemy team isn't coordinated to just group up and just push, then you can just keep forcing them to come back and try and stop you. You know, keep forcing them Keep forcing them to basically just keep splitting up their offense, and if you can keep forcing them to come back and try to stop you, then there's no way they can ever actually group as 5 and just end the game, because they're too busy trying to deal with you the entire game. And you saw at the start of this game that we started with a really big disadvantage. Annie got really fed, Draven got really fed, and Shen was really fed. Everyone on our team was just fed, and we already had the weaker team comp to start with, so we already had 0 chance of winning any team fights before the game really even started. And then they got super fed, and then we really had 0 chance. So I just resorted to split pushing to force them to deal with me. And that way we just avoided full 5v5 team fights. You'll notice all the team fights we had, all the team fights we won, but they were not 5v5s. They were, I was split pushing, a couple people went back to come and stop me, and my team engaged when the enemy team was trying to go back. And this is exactly what you want to do. You want to split people up. You want to force their carries to go back to base. And then when the carries are at base, then is when you engage, because obviously with no carries, their team fight is much, much weaker. So, it's a pretty long video, but I think I pretty much covered most of what I wanted to. If you have comments or whatever, just post them in the comments, or if you have questions, go ahead and post those too. But hopefully you see why split pushing is just such a good tactic, especially in just uncoordinated games, in solo queue games, in normal games, and even in ranked games. Split pushing is just really effective because you're on the same page as your team, so you can make split pushing even more effective. And this is why we see, Shen so much in the competitive scene. This is why we see Twisted Fate so much. It's just because split pushing is just inherently such a strong strategy. And it just works at all elos of play, it works at all levels of play. It just works especially well against an uncoordinated team, because you saw, one person can draw the entire team to them. It doesn't require a team effort, it just requires you to just split push on your own. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video.